Yeah, there's a catch at the end, I'm sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the air.
Like to call to order the meeting of the Long Hill Township Planning Board, November 12th, 2024. Could we have the announcements, please?
It's 7:33 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Okay, call to order and statement of compliance. Adequate notice of this meeting or hearing has been provided by posting a copy of the public meeting hearing dates on the municipal bulletin board and website, by sending a copy to the Echo Sentinel newspaper, and by filing a copy with the municipal clerk. Number 2, standard board procedures. Any meeting or hearing conducted by the board is a quasi-judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial meeting or hearing must be maintained at all times. Number 3, meeting cutoff. Announcement is made that as a matter of procedure, it is the intention of the planning board not to continue any matter past 10:30 p.m. at any regular or special meeting or hearing of the board, unless a motion is passed by the members then present to extend the meeting or hearing to a later specified cutoff time. Number 4, electronic devices. All in attendance are asked to mute cell phones or any electronic devices as to not interfere with the proceedings. Number 5, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Lavender is excused this evening. Ms. Dill?
Present.
Mr. Hands?
Here.
Mr. Malinowski?
Here.
Mr. Mitchell?
Present.
Mr. Opalka is excused this evening. Mr. Sandat?
Here.
Vice Chairman Jones?
Present.
Chairman Richardson?
Here.
Chairman, we have four.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, our first item are meeting minutes. I'm going to give you an opportunity. They're fairly short. We do apologize in regards to getting these out ahead of the meeting, which is,
Well, June 25th
I
and
think
September 10th were sent out.
were sent out. It was just, and then
Yeah.
we do not have in the packet, though, September 24th.
Correct.
That you're still working on. So, thank you for that clarification. If you could please just take a moment to make sure they're accurate. And then we'll take motions on each of these.
That's fine.
I didn't see any issues, Mr. Chairman.
I've opened both,
Okay. Has everybody else had a chance to look at both of these?
Just as we make a motion and we vote, there's going to be a couple of votes that cannot.
Yes.
It's mostly on the September 10th.
Okay, so is there a motion? Let's start with June 25th. Is there a motion to accept the meeting minutes of June 25th?
Yeah, I motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Okay. Do we have a motion to accept the September 10th meeting minutes?
Yeah, I motion to accept. Second.
Yeah, I was going to say second with the excuse of Teresa and Dennis on this one.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, great. Motion's carried. The next set of business items are applications. And we have an extension request for a minor subdivision. It's block 12806, lot 21, 57 Dogwood Terrace, application number 23-10P. Mr. Attorney, could you please just give us a status as to this extension?
Absolutely,
Thank
Mr. Chairman. So actually, similar set of facts for both of the extension requests on the agenda tonight, guys. Both of them deal with minor subdivisions. The applicants in both of these situations are seeking an extension of the 190-day filing deadline. That's the deadline between the adoption of the resolution to when you need to have your final plat recorded. As I was saying, it's 190-day by default under the MLUL, but it does provide for up to a 1-year extension if so granted by the board. It's a very low standard to reach. You just have to, basically just has to be reasonable under the circumstances, and they have to demonstrate that they were barred from getting the approval for one reason or another. you know, in the event you don't grant them the extension, they would have to come back and redo the entire application, so for that reason, may not be the best. So that's kind of the situation for both. For Beneby, they're seeking, I believe it's a 30-day extension. And they also mentioned you can request these extensions after the fact. So like, you know, for Falzarano, for example, they're expired on October 31st. We got the letter from them on November 4th, but the MOU does permit, you know, post facto extension. And that one, they're seeking a 20-day to November 20th. So that's it in a nutshell. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
I
Mr.
have a
Sando.
question.
Yes, sir.
At, at the third line of the second page,
Which
The
one you
applicants-
on, Dennis?
Which application?
Which app?
which application? The Dogwood application.
Okay.
Third line, second page.
It says here that the applicant has demonstrated that it was barred or prevented from filing with the county. On what grounds does the county prevent or ban a filing? I thought the county recorded whatever it was told to record.
I don't believe that that's stating that the county was barring them, Mr. Sando. I believe that just, what that's saying is that in general, they were barred or prevented from filing with the county. The county, they have to file with the county, they were barred or prevented for other purposes,
Well-
not that the county was blocking.
So the fact that they were barred or prevented from filing with the county
Yes.
is simply incidental to the fact that something else was blocking them. And so they couldn't get around to filing with, and I don't know whether the word is filing or recording.
They're synonymous with each other in this context. But, I mean, if you,
Are they truly synonymous, or are you just making that up?
I tell you my understanding, they're synonymous in this context.
I mean, recording is something that there is, no one has the ability to prevent a recording. I can record anything with the county clerk. But a filing suggests that there is an option to reject. And I don't know what that option would be in this case. So I'm questioning the use of the word recording, or the use of the word filing.
To Mr. Sando's point, to make it clear, I see no issue with amending to say recording instead of filing.
Is that now clear from your perspective? Because that is a little confusing in regards to, is it the county preventing this action, or is it the application that's not ready to be filed? So,
What evidence do they give for this request?
I will receive a letter from their attorney dated October 21st. I'll read this. Dear Ms. Kuntz, as you know, this firm represents the applicants in connection with the above referenced matter. I'm paraphrasing just a little bit here. It has come to my attention that the 190-day deadline as set forth in NJSA 40:55D-47D for the recording of the subdivision deed lapsed on October 16th. I'm therefore writing and respectfully request that the planning board issue a resolution briefly extending the time for the recording of the subdivision deed. We respectfully request an extension of 30 days from the date of the resolution, extending time for recording to ensure sufficient time for execution of the deed by the board and our clients and the recording of same with the Morris County Clerk. So that's all they've really
But
put
there's
on.
no explanation.
But the recording
used the word
sounds more
recording,
appropriate
right.
than
Right.
filing, so I have to
Right.
agree with that
Right.
point.
all right.
But did I miss it? There was no
No,
explanation as to
No.
why. Would they just miss the
No.
date?
I don't see an explanation in it, to be quite frank with you. Yeah.
I'll be
I-
fine just to change to recording then, just to be in line with what they said.
Huh.
Is that standard practice that they don't give us a reason for why? There's
If you feel as
something
though,
more tangible? I mean,
we can certainly request that they
We
provide
could request
additional
more
information if
clarity.
you don't feel comfortable acting on it
I'd
tonight.
like to know why.
Okay. That's fair.
That's where I'm at.
Okay.
Before voting to extend,
I'd like to know why.
And
all right,
as I said before, you can grant these post facto, so even if the board doesn't act on it tonight, it doesn't really hold them up as long as,
No,
you know.
right.
Yeah, so, if that's the case, I don't want to What words anyone else mouth on the
That's
board?
where I'm at. That,
Is
for me,
there any other
I
questions or
agree.
comments on this?
Well,
I do. I want to, because I'm trying to see, I don't know if it matters who was present or not, if we can be eligible to vote on it, and I think a bunch of the dates might be off. So, I don't know which one you want to take first, but
Are you referring to the Dogwood application?
I think they both are off. So, if you want to start with the Dogwood,
Yeah,
I believe the hearing date was the 27th,
of,
I'm sorry, February. Because it looks like the 13th was canceled.
yeah.
And then, I'm not sure about the resolution, I can check in a second.
Yeah, those should be dated
Sorry, do you want me to go back?
today.
So this is the 27th, and then you've got minor subdivision.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out personally if I
Well-
was here or not, and then, because I know I've been away a few times, and then,
Ms. Stoll, real quick, so on the first page, the hearing date and resolution, those should actually reflect today's date, because the resolution is, we're talking about this resolution, not the resolution that was initially approved. But you're still correct in the fact that they're off, because it should be today's date, not February 13th.
oh, okay, sure. Well,
Yeah.
because that was my next question, is
Yeah.
then why is this one
Right.
slightly different, where it says board action and memorialization, both listed as November 12th?
The reason for the difference is that the one for Dogwood was drafted by one of our paralegals, and the other one was drafted by myself.
Which one did you do?
Falzarano, the one that's much longer?
And the one that has November dates?
Yes.
So make sure.
And then,
So, your
within the
question is-
body of the,
Fine.
within the body of the actual extension, it says April 9th and April 24th for Falzarano, and it says April 9th for Dogwood. So maybe we can just confirm those.
Sure, from the dates on.
That's the board's resolution date.
Right, that might be
Yeah.
right. I'm just,
Yeah.
in light of the,
Okay.
I'm just,
It might be in the
there's a bunch of
minutes.
different
I-
dates and.
I can't speak to the drafting of the one for Dogwood too much, other than, like I said, one of the paralegals at our firm put that together, but the one for Falzarano, I did put that together, and I did confirm from the original resolution that the
Okay.
dates on there do line up.
So then,
Under vote on resolution, my name is missing.
Right,
Well-
that was the other thing I was gonna say.
It might be an outdated
Because
signature block.
You don't have to put the charts in these, because.
Okay,
they're
yeah, do
all
you,
from-
do you-
I usually do it, yes.
oh, okay,
I'll
all right,
do it,
yeah, just kind of a placeholder thing for the
Yeah,
most part.
because we also have, Committeeman Ray in there, and he's,
Oh, right, that's right.
so you don't even have to bother putting the charts in.
and then you're checking to see attendance and who's eligible
I do
too,
that,
yes.
So what I normally do, and I didn't have time tonight, so I usually fix the chart and put the, I didn't look at the dates, at least, yeah.
right, so like if the hearing was on April 9th and I wasn't here,
Mhm.
can I vote on this?
Yes, still,
Okay.
as long as you
So then
weren't,
that's not a
as
big
long as you weren't recused from hearing the initial application
Okay.
for a conflict or something, you can still vote on an extension, whether if you were.
So then I guess it's just fixing the dates,
Right,
other
'cause
than that.
it's not,
Wait,
You're-
she wasn't here
I
for the
had you
hearing.
guys voting on the original.
On the 9th, on April 9th, I
The
wasn't here.
Nabe? No, but I don't think it was on the 9th, Was it?
Well, Falzarano says pertaining to a minor subdivision, approval granted on April 9th.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Falzarano, the board voted to approve it on the 9th and then adopted the resolution on the
Yeah,
24th.
Falzarano, I did not have you, Teresa, but I did have you for the Nabe.
Which is why I think I remember that one and I don't remember Falzarano. Okay.
Benabe may have been, yeah, the resolution was adopted on the 9th, but the actual hearing date must have been,
February
was
27th.
February
Been
13th,
earlier,
right?
yeah.
No,
right.
February 27th.
Ah, okay, yeah, I don't know what happened with that, and I apologize, we're gonna clean that up and make sure it's accurate.
So I think, I mean, we need to be consistent with these,
Correct.
obviously,
Yeah.
even the headings are
Yeah, that's-
not
yeah.
consistent.
Understood, Mr. Chairman. Like I
Yep.
said, again, the one for Benabe was done before,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah.
All right, so you're gonna draft these and have these available for the next meeting?
Yeah,
No doubt.
I will fix Benabe, and then I'll also ask applicants' counsel to give us a little more explanation as to why they haven't been able to
Yes.
get
I
this
think that would
reported.
be
I'll make a
helpful.
note to myself.
Mr. Chairman, the next meeting isn't for another 4 weeks,
This is gonna be.
and these
Does that go
both have
into,
effective dates next week. So approving them 4 weeks from now is going to be, who cares?
since,
how do we keep these in compliance?
Okay, so let's go back to Falzarano first, then I'll come back to Benny. So with Falzarano, if everybody agrees that they have provided sufficient reason to justify the extension, we can vote to grant the extension tonight and then memorialize the resolution at the next meeting. That way they're authorized, they have the extension, but it's not actually, written down until, the next meeting, so to speak. With Beneby, I think we can't vote on anything at this point due to the, board members wanting a little bit more explanation as to why they're even requesting this to begin with, plus some of the more formatting issues, let's say. So with that, I'll talk to applicant's counsel. He's gonna have to provide me with something in writing anyway. Presumably, he'll request a further extension if so needed.
If we do it for one, then we have to do it for the other.
yeah, the same
It's
statute
it's
references
different
in
bodies
both
that
of
go
them.
Right.
towards it. I think we.
I don't care, but I think
If we're
if
going
they're,
to go one,
yeah.
we've got to do them both. That's the reasons why.
Well,
Both of them don't say why.
actually,
Both of
Right.
them don't say
Yeah,
why.
Well, the
With-
why
with
is
one,
never,
we didn't
well,
have
with
enough.
Falzarano, the reason they gave is that they have everything done, but they're still waiting for the board engineer, Joe, to sign off on.
So Joe Vuch hasn't signed off on
Right.
it.
Is that what you, we didn't hear you say that?
Yes, yeah. Well, in the beginning, I was generally speaking, but yes, but that one,
they did give a
So
reason.
you're comfortable with the.
I'm comfortable with that one, yes. The other one, they should give us at least
Does
something.
anyone know why the board engineer is delinquent?
To my knowledge.
Has anyone asked him? Has anyone
I know he's
pursued
got- I
him?
know the board engineer's got a
Yeah.
bunch of projects in flight right now,
Yes.
so
Mhm.
he might be just.
Other priorities and swamped. I did speak to the board engineer,
Mhm. I believe
About
he's,
He's also the
He's
township
just-
engineer,
yes.
so he's doing this stuff, he's doing the zoning board of adjustment stuff, and then
Is he
doing
being
town stuff.
paid by the board and by the township to do this job?
He gets paid for his time here, he gets paid time from the zoning board, and he also gets paid by the township when he's in office working.
So there's no question about whether or not he should be able to find the time to do his job.
You know, I could split hairs with that. I have the same problem at work for my full-time job where I actually do get paid, and I have a lot of different priorities coming from a lot of different areas. So Joe, to his defense, has got 3 bosses.
well, that's just here, I don't know, if it represents other
So-
municipalities, I don't know, with the extent of his work.
It could
is
be a
beyond that.
prioritization thing.
It's not uncommon to see these types of situations arise. I can't recall if these properties were on a county road, but, sometimes the county will hold you up in trying to get something done. That's why
But
they,
there we know it's Joe Vuch,
right,
so
right.
So,
it's on him to get it done.
all right, so let's bring this to a conclusion. In regards to then what we need to do to maintain compliance, is you're suggesting still that we vote to approve?
My advice, Mr. Chairman, under the circumstances, I would suggest that the board table the Dogwood extension, but with the Falzarano Family Trust extension request, move to grant the extension. In my legal opinion, I think they provided sufficient reason to justify the extension. So move and vote to grant the extension tonight, but then act on a resolution at the next meeting.
Which is 4 weeks from now.
Right.
Yes.
And actually, to that point, all right, so we need to clean up the signature block, but were there any other edits to that Falzarano resolution that anybody had? Because otherwise, I think we could just adopt as amended and then, definitely clean it up and pull out the signature blocks, and we don't have to hold them up.
It's fine.
And I'll make sure if everyone approves of the form and format for this one, I'll make sure the Beneby one matches this in terms of,
Is it just standard to
Warrant
have
sections.
the whereas clauses all list the different grounds that you can seek the extension on? Because it lists the same grounds as
Yes.
being barred or prevented by the county. Is that just like
where do you see that? Barred from the county?
on page 2 of 4,
Yeah, which paragraph?
the second paragraph?
Yeah. The
And
pursuant-
if it's just, if each paragraph is just listing the different grounds, then okay, I'm just making sure that
I try to set the stage for what's being anticipated, right? So with this one specifically, start from the first page, first paragraph, that's just explaining the property, what the approval was, setting, the approval dates, because they're gonna get referenced later on. Second paragraph, that's what the MLUL and the township ordinance provides for, when the expiration date will be. Then next paragraph says, the board can grant the extension under these circumstances. The next paragraph, the board can grant an extension even after it would have otherwise expired. Then, explain what the attorney wrote in their letter, and then finally, the board by a vote of however, and then the final couple paragraphs, well, second last paragraph is, making sure that the extension's subject to all the conditions of their original approval, and then finally the vote at the end.
So the
So it all
difference
kinda flows
between
together.
the second paragraph on the second page is that it says it's being prevented by other governmental or quasi-governmental entities.
Correct.
And it doesn't specifically say the county.
Correct.
And so in this case, that is the engineer.
That's the standard they have to meet.
No, I'm
Right.
specifically, in this case, that's the engineer.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's where,
Yes, correct.
yes. And just to double check, the box it's going, this resolution
Yeah.
box is going, right?
Yeah, I'll let Deb clean that up. She's got her system. I want it.
And the practice is not to say, in this example, it's the township engineer that's holding up the process. It's
Wait.
better to read that out of a letter as to the rationale, as to why it's being held up.
It does say on the last where, second to last whereas.
Yeah, I mean, the resolution should memorialize why it is that,
So we just need to
what the
do-
grounds are that the board finds is sufficient, right?
Yeah, so you just need to do the same with the first.
Yeah, this one says particularly approvals of the board professionals.
Right.
Well, in Joe's defense too, there are a lot of times, and I can't speak to because he's not here, but, but a lot of times, he is very, very diligently working to get these things done, but if he's suggesting that there are changes, or I know one of these, and again, I don't remember which one off the top of my head, he went back and said the meets and bounds were off.
Mhm.
So he could be waiting for their engineer to determine there are any new reasons.
It could be something in flight, but it's with
Correct.
him, he's the.
So I don't think we should put the
Yep.
on Joe's.
Yep.
No, no,
And-
no, no.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
I was just
that's
using
also why I said
I'm
board
just trying to
professionals, because I don't want to throw Joe
Exactly.
individually under the bus. Also, my office has
There's
to,
usually an explanation.
Right.
It's fine. But we absolutely need to know what that issue, what's
Right.
holding it up.
exactly, yeah. There has to be, again, you gotta have some kind of grounds to
Okay.
grant the extension.
Are-
And I'm just being, because these two are in front of us at the same time, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to understand the differences between the two,
Yeah.
that's all
Yeah.
And we've agreed that they're not consistent, and that's something you're gonna.
Yeah, I'll make sure that
Right.
the Beneby one matches as
But-
long as everyone's okay with how Falzarano looks, I'll make sure it looks
Yeah.
I
like
think
that.
so.
Okay,
Do
so,
one template.
so then we need to, make a motion to accept the,
Motion to grant the extension request
For
and
Falzarano,
adopt the resolution. That's the motion.
okay.
Should be the motion. Unless someone has
So
another.
that's application number 24055P.
Yeah,
Correct. Is there a
So
motion?
moved.
I second it.
Okay. Vice Chairman Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Hands.
Yes.
Ms. Dill.
Yes.
Mr. Malinowski.
Yes.
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
Mr. Sandow.
Yes.
And Chairman Richardson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay,
As far as Beneby goes, I don't think it's necessary, but it might be a good idea to just have a motion to table that until the next meeting.
okay. Is there a motion to,
So moved to table application number.
Just a question with that.
23-10P.
So at the next meeting, we'll look to approve something that's going to have already been submitted
Well,
and
they need to,
recorded, because they're looking for a date of November 20th to record it.
right,
So we'll
well,
grant them an extension.
right,
Okay,
right. Yeah, it can be a
It
post
can- okay,
facto extension,
okay.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah. In the event you don't grant the extension, then they got a problem, they have to unrecord everything, that's a whole separate process. but-
And for the record, the carry date will be to December 10th.
So motion to accept, to table application number 23-10P as in Papa to future date as stated by
December.
Ms. Quince,
December 10th?
December 10th.
I second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I'm sorry I'm a little belated in asking this question, but these were scheduled for the 22nd, and they were carried to tonight, but we didn't meet on the 22nd in order to vote publicly on carrying them. I know they were public, the dates were published, but a question for council. What is the authority to carry a hearing to a later date without actually agreeing in an open meeting to do that?
the circumstances of this one, I'm trying to recall, Mr. Sando, but I know we did post, we had the notice posted, so it was effectively carried, not requiring any further notice. I have to go back to, I can't recall, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but Mr. Chairman, I believe, did you authorize the carrying?
I can't
all the
recall.
details of?
Well, both applications were carried.
Right.
I think we were having an issue with possible attendance, and so.
That's right.
Yes.
Our board attorney Warner had said we can cancel the meeting as long as we post certain things. I posted in the newspaper, Echo Sentinel, about the carry date. I posted, on the front doors of the buildings, and we sent out an email blast. So,
I think notice was
Steve
made.
Warner had.
No, I'm not challenging that you did all those things. The question is that lawful to substitute your judgment for the judgment of the board as a whole?
Who's the you? Who's the
The-
your?
Hmm?
Who's the
Is-
your? Your judgment, who's the your?
Legal counsel, right?
It wasn't-
Deborah made those announcements in all the right places,
But Deborah okay.
but the board did not agree to carry the
Because
applications.
the board could not be met. The board could not have a quorum because we did not have enough members.
Okay.
So I think at that point, you used your authoritative power to carry.
There are remedies for that.
Well, they weren't exercised
Such as?
that day.
Yeah.
I'd have to defer to Steve. Quite frankly, that was, he kind of handled the carrying.
If Steve
Yes.
gave the guidance, he
Yeah.
gave the legal guidance, and
Yes.
we followed.
Right.
And if I know one thing about Steve, he doesn't do anything without it being completely 100% legal. So. Yeah.
Next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next, we have,
Oh, time out, Mr. Chairman,
yes.
real quick. On that note, is the board okay with carrying these matters again to December 10th? Because we got to make the announcement, just, formally.
For,
Yes.
for the Dogwood?
No,
But
for,
for- well, now we're talking about the next two applications.
yeah, the two minor
correct?
site plan
sorry.
applications.
The two minor
Moving
site
on.
plan
Yeah.
applications.
Extensions only.
Yeah, I think we're done with the
So,
extensions, right?
thank you.
Yeah, we're done with that.
All right, so let me just formally announce, so we have two minor site plan carries. One is for block 14602, lot 10, zone M-H. This is for 632 Myersville Road, application number 24-16P. The second is also for a minor site plan carry for block 11612, lot 9, in the Zone O office at 1390 Valley Road, application number 24-12P. Can you give
Oh.
Mr. Yeah, Attorney, just,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
yes,
All right, yes, so to the public out there, if you're, if you're here for either of those applications, they're going to be carried to December 10th, 2024, 7:30 PM here in the Municipal Town Hall building. No further notice will be required either by publication or by certified mail or personal service. And that's the notice, so
great.
we're good to go.
And so we should do a motion
Yes.
to carry these two applications. Do I hear a motion?
So moved?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, great. All right, we're done with the applications items. Any update, Mr. Jones, on ordinance?
No, I've not been working on ordinance for the last 6 weeks due to, work-related, items that needed my attention. So, I have failed in that spot.
Well, and I think where we
feel
left a
too
few
strongly,
of them, Liz was also
That's
doing some
fine.
further
Correct.
research.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're being far too hard on yourself.
And it wasn't just you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were a few
Believe me,
things
it
that
wasn't
Liz was
just you.
looking into also.
We were out as well.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think then the better question on ordinance review is what's the game plan through the balance of the year, given the fact that we really only have
So we'll
one more
follow up-
meeting?
So we're gonna follow up on the open items that we have that are in flight, and just try to take those to the finish line for this year. It's only, I think, 3 things that we have, that we're trying to close out. And then we'll close out the year. There might be 3 or 4 things that we're working on.
And one of them's quite substantial, really, the downtown Sterling one. That's not a small task.
Nope.
Some of them, you know, sheds, even sheds is not as small, but that one in particular is not going to be a 5-minute thing.
And we're looking at the zoning renaming, old and new, that we have in our master plan, so we would like to apply those. Obviously, that requires coordination with Joe Vooch. Joe Vooch has a couple of things just coming from us on the ordinance review committee, so there's his workload, as well as coming from his other 2 bosses.
Great. Okay. Okay, thanks for the update. So moving on, any old or new business before the board? Yes, Mr. Sandow?
There's been some chatter among the public about the new affordable housing numbers that were recommended by some commission somewhere. They are apparently not mandatory. Apparently the town has the authority or the ability to challenge the numbers because they are only recommendations. And it's not clear to me exactly what happens after January 31st if we do or do not challenge the recommendations. At any rate, the chatter that's been going on suggests that maybe if the town has to provide additional affordable housing units in this next round, that would automatically change the master plan. And I think we should be clear to the public that nothing automatically changes the master plan except a new master plan.
Right.
And the affordable housing requirements that come along every few years have to be handled by ordinance or by pilot or by some combination of variances within the broad scope of the existing master plan. Now, it turns out that the master plan housing element is not new last year. It actually dates from 2016, I believe. 18. And perhaps sooner or later, we should be coordinating with the town about their plans for this new round number as to whether they're going to accept the recommendation or not, and perhaps get on with changing or updating the housing element, which in the last round of master plan we decided not to change because it had been part of the court settlement agreement in fair share. Did I get all that right?
Sounds about right to me.
Yeah, no, it sounds right. And you sold my thunder a little bit because that is going to happen in regards to we have to adopt a housing element and fair share plan by June 30th. That is mandated.
Because that is 5 years from the fair share settlement? Okay.
Correct.
And so, also, I recall that at the last township committee meeting, there was a statement made that there was a committee being formed to deal with affirmative action, and at this time, it only includes employees and town officials, but we need to put somebody on it from the planning board. You heard that?
Yes. Affirmative action is the initiative in that regards. Yes. You said affirmative action, not.
Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't.
Housing.
Yes, affordable.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for correcting me.
Yes.
At any rate, at least we seem to be in a position of getting a vote. Just for the record, the township used to have in its ordinance an affordable housing committee,
Right.
which did almost nothing until it was disbanded 5 years ago.
Right.
And now it appears to be
my
being
understanding-
recreated.
No, my understanding is you are the representative
That
for
is
the
correct.
planning board.
That is
So
absolutely correct.
Mr. Jones
yes.
is on that board and attending meetings.
And that was socialized in the
was
one of the TC meetings.
Yep, memorialized, right, correct. So we do have representation there.
Just out of curiosity, Dennis, which residents were bringing that up?
I don't think it's appropriate to answer that question in public meeting.
Scared?
And these were not recorded in any public hearings at Township Committee.
No,
This is
I'm,
just more scuttle.
it's just a misunderstanding that anything we do automatically changes the master plan.
Right.
And that misunderstanding has to be squelched.
Right. Well, I think we've done that tonight, at least on record.
I
so-
should hope so. If you're listening out there.
It's all those in attendance tonight, right?
Right.
I also suggest that resident who's made that comment should go to the TC meeting and
Yes.
raise it there.
Please, so we can get it on record
That's
and
right.
address it.
That's exactly correct.
Tom, is there anything
Yeah.
you can say or speak to that?
No,
Committee
not
at this
this
point.
time, no.
I would not want to recommend that any misunderstanding that any citizen has should be brought to the planning board meeting.
I didn't say planning board, I said to the TC.
Township,
TC.
exactly. All right, any new or old business? Yes, Madam Secretary.
I was going to suggest that for December 10th, we have our board planner and our board attorney
Yes.
note the procedures going into round 4 for affordable housing and what the board is responsible for, and some background about what is going on behind the scenes and discussions between committees that have been formed, employees,
Yeah,
and
that'd be
myself
helpful.
working,
Yeah.
because I've been working.
I think that's an excellent idea. Could you make sure that gets on the
Yes, I
agenda?
plan to have an update between myself, our board attorney, either Chris or Steve.
All right.
I got a note.
And Liz Sleen. to
All right.
plan.
It would be really helpful, I think, to the board if even some references or background materials could be shared before the meeting, so we could come a little bit better informed on the process
Sure.
for us universally here.
The
Thank
only
you.
other thing that I have, Mr. Chairman, is I will have on December 10th, I have the draft meeting dates for 2025 for everybody, so.
All right. Is anybody here have a conflict? This is an important meeting, December 10th, that's setting up.
I'm trying to figure it out right
Okay.
now because I'm have a work thing, but
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm trying to actually look right now what day
Gotcha.
it is.
All right, just, again, let us know, but just in advance, it would be nice to know as soon as possible if we're going to have any challenges there. So,
I just wonder if it's worth recirculating the agreement, the affordable housing agreement.
It's online.
Yeah, just want to make it easy for everybody to, you may not be familiar with it, so just make sure.
And if you go to the, if you go to the master plan page,
It's
on
like
the
the only
master
thing
plan,
that's
click on
there.
that, it takes you into all the elements
Yeah.
separately. So you can go to fair share and housing plans.
Yeah. Just make sure we
Done in 2018.
remind ourselves.
Which I'm under the impression, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we need to update, we don't do a full update of the master plan, we just do those 2 elements.
Yeah, you could just do one or two elements at a
You
time.
might want to have someone take a look at the website, because I'm getting an account suspended when I click on master plan on the
That's
planning.
fun. We are, it's my understanding
I
we're
got
going
that
into a
too.
new web server too, in
Okay.
2 years, so.
Okay.
all right.
So download it
So now you have.
quickly.
Before it disappears.
Yeah.
Any other items to bring before the board this evening? Yes, Mr. Jones?
Yeah, I just have one item, and this is really about yesterday. Yesterday was Veterans Day, so I just want to give a shout out and a big thank you to all the veterans out there, the veterans on the planning board, those that have served, those that are serving, those that are about to serve.
And families of the,
And absolutely 100% the families. They, just an enormous sacrifice
Mhm.
is turned in by these individuals, these brave patriots. And people need to realize that they do take a pause in their civilian life to do this. So, big thank you to all the veterans out there and their families. So,
Yeah,
thank you very
we're
much for your
Here, here.
service.
yeah, thank you.
And I would also echo that it's a global.
It's
Canada-
Remembrance Day.
Canada had a day off yesterday in Canada, and the UK is a Remembrance Sunday.
I didn't know they all aligned.
So it's very much, because it's all World War One.
Interesting.
One.
Was it one that was set up as a, okay,
The 11th day, 11th
Right.
hour, the
Was-
11th
Right,
day, of the
right, right,
11th
right,
month.
right.
So
interesting.
just to recognise,
Yeah.
it's a global
And the reason they give out poppies, you know why they give out the poppy flower?
poppy fields.
Because the poppy fields were there in the battlefields. of
Mm.
World War I.
Interesting. Good, thank you.
Watch a World War I documentary tonight.
Okay, so with that said, is there a motion to adjourn? Yes, Mr. Sando, a late
I'd
hand.
like to move that we adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.